Hey everybody, this is E at E's Workout Channel. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Today I'm going to do a video about the UFC, more specifically something that took place at the UFC over the weekend. One of the fights that's generating a lot of controversy. I'm going to give my take on it. And yeah, basically, over the weekend, there was a guy named Francisco Trinaldo fighting a guy named Jay Herbert. And they had a pretty back and forth, good fight for 2 rounds. In the 3rd round, they both were pretty exhausted. You know, they were tired. Francisco Trinaldo ended up hitting Jay Herbert in the forehead with a pretty strong punch. And it was a delayed reaction, but then Jay Herbert fell down. And when he fell down, he put his hands up and he put his knee up and he rolled to the side. Francisco Trinaldo looked at the referee like the fight should be stopped right then and there. Herb Dean was like, no, keep fighting. And so Francisco Trinaldo threw about 4 more punches. And then Herb Dean went ahead and stopped the fight because Jay Herbert wasn't, defending himself. So Herb Dean went ahead and stopped the fight. Now, for some reason, this seemed to cause a lot of controversy for 2 of the commentators, Paul Felder and Dan Hardy. They seem to lose their fucking minds about a fight that was finished. I mean, I've been watching UFC since UFC 1. I've seen some good officiating. I've seen some bad officiating. Herb Dean did nothing wrong. He did exactly what he was supposed to do in this situation. Dan Hardy is a fucking idiot. I've lost all respect for this guy. He literally has to be an idiot. What the hell was wrong with the stoppage? I have no idea what he thought was wrong with the stoppage. I mean, if he really thought that that Herbert was in trouble, Herbert's corner's right there. They could throw the towel in at any point. Why did he feel the need to engage Herb Dean in conversation, in conversation about Herb Dean's officiating of the match? It's not his goddamn business. He was so out of line. He had no place doing what he did. Herb Dean should have slapped the shit out of him and told him to sit his ass down and do his damn job. Focus on being a good commentator. Because that's his job, to be a commentator. Now, if you want to mention the officiating during his commentary, that's fine. But to actually talk to an official about it and to make all this noise about it, first off, Jay Herbert was not knocked stiff. He was not knocked cold. We've all seen fights. I'll give you a good example of what getting knocked stiff like. What Jorge Masvidal did to Ben Askren. That's what getting knocked stiff looks like. You can't move. You can't put your hands up to defend yourself. You can't put your knee up. You can't roll to the side because you're unconscious. You're knocked stiff. So for him to even make an issue about it makes no sense at all because he's dead wrong. He's 100% wrong. Anybody that knows fighting can see this. This is not even like an issue. I don't even understand how this is an issue at all. Okay, for one, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm tired of this bullshit with these fighters, too. Telling the referees when their opponent should be stopped or when they should call it for their opponent. Okay, that's a conflict of interest. That is not your place to do. It's the referee's job to determine if your opponent can or can't fight. It's not your place. You keep fighting until the referee tells you to stop fighting. Now, what would have been funny is if Jay Herbert would have knocked his ass out while he was bullshitting, trying to tell the referee to stop the fight. I hope that happens one day when fighters do that. It's not your place to tell the referee when to call it for your opponent. Do you not see how that is a conflict of interest? It is not the commentator's place to tell the referee when and where a fight should be stopped. Herb Dean was interviewed and he made a very good point. He said as he was officiating the fight, he heard somebody else stop the fight. Now, There are no fans in the building. No fans at all. Everybody in that building is there to do a specific job. Whether it's the commentators, the cameraman, whoever sets up the cage, whatever. Everybody has a specific job. So there's only 3 entities that can tell a referee to stop the fight. The 2 corners and the ringside physician. Those are the only people who can tell a referee a fight needs to be stopped. Nobody else, or the referee himself, or the fighters. But outside of the referee and the fighters, the 2 fighters' corners and the ringside physician. Those are the only people that can stop a fight. A commentator has no goddamn place telling a referee when and where to stop a fight. If you think you're so goddamn good, go be an official. Go be a referee yourself. And then you only got to worry about it. But it's not your place to tell a referee how to do his job. You, the commentator. And to be honest, I'm sick of fucking hearing these fighters call these fights anyway. I don't even like the fighters doing commentary. It gets on my nerves. There are times when I have to cut the damn sound down because they're biased. They don't know what they're talking about. Just because they're fighters don't mean they automatically know what they're talking about. It's one thing to know fighting. It's a whole other thing to talk about fighting, to millions and millions of people. So just because they're fighters don't mean that they know what they're talking about. And the only 2 fighters that I really like to hear, that I can tolerate hearing, are Daniel Cormier and Dominic Cruz. Those are the only 2. Those are the only 2 who seem who can truly be unbiased and call the matches as they are, fairly. And as far as Paul Felder, gets on my nerves. Dan Hardy could definitely do without his dumb ass. Like I said, all this fucking confusion he's causing for no reason. There was nothing wrong with that stoppage. Nothing. Now, if Jay Herbert would have been knocked stiff and couldn't put his hands up and couldn't put his knee up and couldn't roll to the side, and Herb Dean told Francisco Trinaldo to keep hitting him, then I'd be like, that ain't cool. That's wrong. But that's not what happened. And even if Herb Dean got it totally wrong, it's still not Dan Hardy's place to question him or to talk to him about his officiating. He a fucking commentator. Sit your ass down in a booth and call the goddamn fights. It's not your place to be questioning referees or cameramen or anybody else. I'm going to tell you what I feel like it is. It feel like Dan Hardy wants a platform. And now, homie, this ain't the place for a platform. Go start a webcast or, a podcast like Joe Rogan or these other guys if you want a platform. The commentary booth is not your platform for fighter safety. And let me say this also, because what he did is very disrespectful to the fighters themselves. And let me explain why. These fighters go through hell and God knows what to get their bodies ready to compete in these fights. So let me tell you for a fact, not even being a fighter, but I can guarantee you this is how the fighters feel. They would much rather take a few extra punches than have their fight stop prematurely. I can promise you that. These fighters do not want their fight stopped prematurely. And most of them would rather be given the benefit of the doubt than to have their fight stopped. These guys are tough. All of them want to be tough. Because that's what they do. They fight. They're fighters. So all of this bullshit about fights being stopped earlier, man, you know what? All of these fighters have a corner for a reason. If their fighters are taking damage that they shouldn't be taking, the corner will step in. And if a corner don't step in, they know these fighters better than we do. They work intimately with these fighters. All we do, we're just on the outside looking in, watching a good fight. So we need to leave the fighter's safety to their corners, the referee, and the ringside physician. Those are the people in charge of the fighter's safety. It's not the commentators. It's not the cameraman. It's not the sound coordinator. It's the 2 corners, the referee, the ringside physician. Everybody else needs to shut the fuck up. Seriously. Because this dumb shit Dan Hardy did, like I said, he was way out of line, and then he's 100% wrong. I'm thinking this dude must have lost his damn mind or something. Like, it makes no sense. Anybody who knows fighting knows that Jay Herbert was not knocked stiff. He was not knocked out cold. Anybody who knows fighting knows that. So what the hell is Dan Hardy even? What the hell was Paul Felder acting like a fool for? It doesn't even make any sense at all. If that's how they're gonna be, they do not need to be calling fights. We don't need idiots calling fights. It's not good for the product. It's not good for the fans. If that's how they're gonna be, they need to go. They don't need to call fights no more. It's just that simple. I think Dan Hardy should be fired, period. He should never be able to call another fight again. And honestly, if Paul Felder is going to act stupid and retarded, he shouldn't be calling fights either. Stick to fighting. You're a hell of a fighter, especially you, Paul Felder. You are a hell of a fighter. You're one of my favorite fighters. I would much rather see you fight than call fights. Or if you're going to call fights, you got to do a better job, my man. You just do. But anyway, that's my take on that situation with the UFC over the weekend. With all of that stupid ass controversy that was totally unnecessary. Please give your thoughts. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Everybody be safe. I love y'all. Peace.